Springville police tell Fox 13 News an incident that started in the St. George area this afternoon had them checking up on two children of local YouTube stars Ruby and Kevin Franke from the popular 8 Passengers YouTube channel. Now, the incident in St. George led them to try and find two children in the Springville area where the mother Ruby lives. They say Ruby was on her way to St. George because of a family emergency and asked a family friend to pick up 2 of her 6 children. St. George police have confirmed with Fox 13 that the Santa Clara Ivins Police Department is handling the case in southern Utah. Now, the 2 children, 2 daughters, were found unharmed at a home in American Fork. We are working to find out what happened in St. George that initially alarmed police and if any charges have been filed. We'll continue to follow this.
Well, guys, I'm sure many of you have seen the news, have seen what exactly is happening with Ruby, Franke and Jody Hildebrandt. Basically, Ruby and her ex-husband, I don't think they're even together anymore. There's been a lot of speculation. I think there may even be some confirmation they're not together anymore. I'm pretty sure he moved out of the home. By the by, there used to be the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, which has since been deleted. I made a little video on it, and that was formed by Ruby Franke and her kind of ex-husband Kevin Franke. Now, these 2 are Ruby on the left, and then you then have Jody on the right. Ruby left 8 Passengers and they formed something called the Connections page. Now, both 8 Passengers original page and the Connections page were always problematic. There's always some stuff. They're problematic in different ways. These guys over here like to tell us, or did like to tell us before they got arrested, how to look after our children and how to live your mums of truth, how to be truthful as a parent and not live in distortion. And I have been keeping up with them for a little while now, over a year, because some of the stuff they come out with sounds borderline, abusive anyway. And a lot of it is just plain nasty, plain horrible. They don't agree with pretty much anything. Any subculture of people you can think of, they don't like. They want you to follow their method of madness. Also notoriously known for splitting up couples and ripping families apart. Anyway, the reason why I've summoned you guys here today is because it's now just been reported that both these 2 have been arrested, and I will throw up the Fox News article right here. We've also got some confirmation through Shari Franke, who is the eldest daughter, I do believe, from Ruby. I have 6 children and I get confused by ages, but I'm fairly sure she is the eldest. Really gut-wrenching, sad news from her end, basically detailing the fact that they have been telling CPS for years. This has been going on for quite a long time. I think a lot of people did suspect it. In fact, they actually had police turn up at their door before because people on the internet were pretty convinced, and for very good reason, that both Kevin and Ruby were abusive towards their children. So we'll have a little look at that as well. So it reads, Washington County, Utah, 8 Passengers mother Ruby Franke and founder Jody Hildebrandt of the Parent Counseling Services Connections were arrested on Wednesday night for 2 counts of aggravated child abuse. The Washington County Sheriff's Office confirmed that they had been placed in custody for intentionally or knowingly committing aggravated child abuse at 9:33 p.m. Now, this is important to note because we're going to get onto a separate article that was actually 2020, where similar things happened in the sense that police were actually called round for suspected child abuse, but I'll carry on reading. Earlier Wednesday, the Springville Fire Department responded to a mutual aid incident at Hildebrandt's residence in Springville at 3:44 p.m. for nearly 2 hours. It is not yet known if the incident is related to Franke and Hildebrandt's arrest 6 hours later. Please go check out the 8 Passengers Snark Reddit thread. It's actually growing quite a lot since this has happened, but they're, as most Reddit threads, have pretty much all the receipts that you could possibly want. Then goes on to say about the 8 Passengers having as many followers as they do before it was taken down. Now, I find this whole thing extremely telling. I reckon they both knew. Ruby knew this was going to be happening. She knew people were onto her because they took down their they took down the 8 Passengers official YouTube channel. I covered this, other people covered this. People thought it was a bit strange, but there was always an inkling of, are they trying to cover their tracks? And I really, really, really do think that they were. In that article, it doesn't say anything about Kevin being arrested, so I'm not going to go into it. May have been, but all I've read is that these 2 were arrested. So I've heard it going around that all of them are. I'm only saying what I've found out, if you know what I mean. But if you know anything else, please let me know. Obviously, this is an extremely sensitive topic. But just in regards to them saying that the channel was taken down, this is also what makes me think that Ruby knew people were onto her, because this is what Shari had to say. So she took a picture of a cop car and the caption is "finally," and I'm assuming this is in front of Ruby's home. She then wrote, "Hi all, today has been a big day. Me and my family are so glad justice is being served. We've been trying to tell the police and CPS for years about this, and so glad they finally decided to step up. Kids are safe, but there is a long road ahead. Please keep them in your prayers and also respect their privacy." And honestly, a lot of mixed emotions. I would like to say I am incredibly horrored that this has happened. However, I mean, even like Shari just said, they've been trying to tell for years. People on the internet have been trying to do something about it for a long time. I will still say that I was shocked in the sense that I can't believe this is actually kind of finally happening. No one knows what is going on behind the scenes, but we all knew and we were privy to the fact that their parenting techniques, their way of, literally taking away their kids' beds if they've misbehaved, punishing them by sending them away to wilderness camps and kind of then bragging about it. And those are just light examples, okay? They would go all out on their 8 Passengers channel, and so it did make you think, what is going on behind the scenes? Because we don't fully know exactly what it is that they've been done for, but aggravated child abuse has many different avenues as to what that could be. I'll throw up the definition right here so you guys can have a read, and because I had to go away and I had to be like, well, what does that mean? What does that account for? And then when you then look onto the connections page, I mean, these guys, the stuff that they would say, giving your child no privacy, so many different things, punishing them if they turn out that they're gay because they're living in distortion, punishing them if they have an eating disorder because that means they're living in distortion. Honestly, it goes on and on and on, and it's actually kind of hard for me to think of examples off the top of my head because most of the videos that people make covering them are just horrible things that you just don't say. you just don't say. I'm extremely happy, like Shari said, she has been waiting for this. They've been trying to tell CPS for years. She's now a grown adult, and that must be horrible knowing that you have got younger siblings which are still living in your mother's care when she's still doing this. And yeah, it's honestly crazy to me. Like I said, back in 2020, I'll show you this newspaper article about the police coming and investigating back then when people on the internet were saying something isn't quite right. These YouTuber parents are speaking out after drama channels and TikTokers accused them of being abusive to their children and had Child Protective Services visit their house. In May, Ruby and Kevin Franke of the YouTube channel 8 Passengers found themselves in the middle of a tidal wave of rumours and accusations about their family. Drama YouTube channels and TikTokers used a clip of a recent video where the Franke's 15-year-old son, Chad, was talking about sleeping on a beanbag to support allegations of child abuse. They also trawled the family's past videos looking for evidence of abuse.
Anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room, and he just got the bedroom back. He hasn't had a flip phone, a smartphone, any kind of phone, and it's been over a year. Mm-hmm. And I still have no intention of returning a phone. And you may never get the phone back.
Probably not.
Well, I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either.
People were upset when it emerged that one of Franke's daughters had gone to school without lunch one day, which I'm actually going to play for you that clip so you kind of get a bit of context. You have to find these over on TikTok now because, of course, they've actually taken most of their stuff down, if not all of it. It's quite hard to find clips nowadays when, of course, the main channel's not there, which is just Captain Obvious Amy.
To tell you this, honey, but unless you find a friend who's willing to share some of their food with you, I don't think you're going to be able to eat.
But if you're not responsible for your lunch and your lunch money, that's the natural consequence. And I'm really sorry you're learning this the hard way. I will have a wonderful, yummy snack. Just hang in there today and just make up your mind. You're going to be really careful and make sure you grab your stuff when you go to school next time. And maybe you have a good friend who will share some of their sandwich with you or something. I'm really sorry. He sounded like he was going to cry.
And if that doesn't make you feel like you just want to go punch something, it actually happened more than once, because she said he was going to cry. She was talking about one of her sons, and then over here in this clip is what everyone else was talking about with one of her daughters. So yeah, this was actually a regular occurrence. And bear this in mind, these are young kids. They're like under the age of 10. I'm not talking teenagers. They are literally under the age of 10. So here is a clip of a teacher pretty much begging, Ruby just to bring in a lunch, just to be like, your kid is really hungry. Could you please bring in a lunch? And this is what she had to say about it.
A text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
I'm sorry, but how can you sit there and go, I hope no one feeds my hungry 6-year-old? I mean, that's basically what she's saying. I hope no one steps in and feeds her lunch. What is the matter with you? Sorry, it gets me so aggravated seeing his clips again. But if you kind of take what you can hear about Ruby saying this, the whole point as to why I'm sharing these clips with you in context to the newspaper articles is because this is the kind of stuff that used to happen regularly on the 8 Passengers, stuff like taking away beds, taking away literally Christmas because of a very minor occurrence. Just honestly, wilderness camps, like taking away things, trying to give them, repercussion, every action has a consequence, but in a very extreme way. That used to occur on the 8 Passengers quite often. But then not only that, over on the connections page, this is the kind of rhetoric that they would give. They're very much just like, every kid, no matter what their age, they have their own agency, that you can't let them live in distortion. They've got to have their own principles of truth. Swear, none of that makes any sense, but this is the kind of stuff they used to say on a regular basis. Okay, you can actually still go over and watch. I don't know how long they're going to keep it up for, but the connections page, myself, I know Marky has, he's a much bigger creator. He covers them really, really well. Other people have covered the connections page. Go and have a little look at any of those videos, or have a little look through. Go on the Reddit thread, which is in a much more condensed form. Just open your eyes to the fact that these guys are honestly, like, it's despicable. Some of the stuff they used to say, this is the reason why it doesn't necessarily surprise me that this kind of stuff's been going on behind the scenes. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. And I feel so sorry for all of those kids who have to endure this, have to go through this. And I just hope that whatever those kids went through, they will come to peace with it eventually. I just feel so sad for those kids, honestly. The kids always look sad on the camera. It's just horrible, and it's just so wild to me that these people can it's so wild that Ruby and Jody can sit there preaching about what good parenting methods they have, yet they've been arrested for 2 accounts of aggravated child abuse. Literally. What I will say though is, aside from the information that is readily available, all the information I got and I shared here today is readily available. It is found. You can find it. It's available to the public. I've not gone snooping. But just please, respect what Shari said, in the sense that she said, can you give us privacy during this time? She obviously wants to share it so that, we can talk about it. Otherwise, she wouldn't be sharing it whatsoever, because she'll know that the minute she pressed share on her stories, obviously people are going to pick up on it, and she obviously wants people to know, which is very admirable in the fact that she stuck with it for so long and was trying to help the other children. But what I will say is that if everyone can obviously do as she says, don't go snooping into the little children, don't go snooping beyond what isn't already readily available. I know that when you have big cases like this, everyone wants to dig deeper and find out what's happened, but unless it's been announced and unless people share it, unless the news, unless the police, etc., just don't go. And I trust my audience not to do this. I'm not lecturing anyone, but just want to make sure that those children are going to be all right. Yeah. That's pretty much all I've got to say on this. I'll be watching and hoping that things go smoothly. Obviously not for Ruby, Frankie, potentially Kevin. I don't really know. I haven't seen anything to suggest maybe he has as well, but all that has been shown to me is Ruby and Jodie. You guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.